Hi Siri, I'm looking for a new podcast, one that preferably is hosted by a UF Hall of Famer, one that airs every weekday that would bring me everything I need to know about the Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions. Siri, is there such a show?
Have you heard of PodUp with Matthews in the morning on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or any podcast platform?
Oh my gosh, why didn't I think of that? UF Hall of Famer Shane Matthews has a show every weekday. I'm gonna go check it out tomorrow. Thanks, Siri.
Good morning. It is a hump day edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. It's Wednesday. We're going to have JC for quite some time today because he has a lot to talk about. You missed it last night. The Yankees win. Yankees win. Yankees win.
Damn right.
Who gives a damn if the Yankees win?
Damn right. The whole world is happy.
You had some college football games last night as well. I want to give a shout out to the St. Augustine Gator Club. I was over there speaking. And a good turnout, ate pretty good. And so there, my speaking engagements are over for a while. Thank goodness. I'm worn out. Back-to-back nights, JC. Good morning. You're on the Titan No More hotline, courtesy of Comfort Tent. What's happening?
That's a lot. St. Augustine. Where was the night before?
The Land.
Ooh, yeah, a lot of driving for QB.
Neither place is easy to get to, really.
Yeah, no, not at all. A lot of two-lane driving there. QB, a big. By the way, what a pleasant morning. We have a cold front blowing through. It's 60 degrees, kind of like football weather. I know you love it when I say that, but listen. This cold weather, this front is going to keep all these little tropical systems that are stewing down there in the Caribbean and out in the Atlantic away from us. Thank God. And you know, QB, I watched a little baseball last night, but. You know what else was on, and it really didn't get a whole lot of play, and it shouldn't. But Louisiana Tech played New Mexico State in a very entertaining double overtime game, and New Mexico State ended up winning 33-30.
So they're not missing Diego Pavia.
Well, they are 2-5, but listen, they pulled it off in Las Cruces in front of about 20,000. But it was interesting to watch. You know, midweek, here we are Tuesday. I think we're going to have football on every night now until,
I think it's November 27th.
Wow, how exciting. How great. And then Mattson.
You got games tonight, by the way. You got some games to watch.
Games tonight, too. Yeah.
All right, we got first of all, I want to make a correction. I don't know why. I went back yesterday, JC, before I left on my travels.
Yes.
I must have had a CTE moment because I talked about at the end of the half against Tennessee where we got sacked and we only had 17 seconds. I thought the clock was, I don't know what the hell I was thinking. The clock when we snapped the ball was a little over a minute on the play, or maybe a little less, but it was a live ball deal. And Graham got sacked. We had plenty of time to run the field goal team. I don't know where I came up with the scenario that the clock was stopped and the play started with 76. So I'm just, I don't know what I was thinking.
It's a
CTA,
long night.
too many concussions.
QB is a long night, Tennessee, Knoxville. But, hey, the more I'm thinking about it, and you may disagree with this, and I don't know if anybody else does, but now that I think about it, I kind of wish, and I think he's probably sitting at the house thinking, maybe I should have gone for 2. And,
Coach Spurrier said he would not have gone for 2.
No, well, this is a different scenario.
But, I mean, what does it matter?
Well, no, it doesn't. But think about this guy. He's got what's he got to lose? He's got a losing record. Coach Spurrier didn't have a losing record. This guy's got very little to lose. And he pulls that off. He looks a lot better than of course, how it went. But just think about it. He could have won the game right there and pulled off a huge upset. And a 15-point underdog pulling off an upset with a 2-point conversion gets a little bit of steam off his chair, if you ask me. But regardless, it didn't happen. So I don't know why I'm talking about it. I'm just saying that I think looking back, he's been very conservative since he's gotten here, QB, for 3 years. He's been very
I think that's what he's always been conservative. Probably if you go back and watch Louisiana games, which I didn't, and I'm not, but no. I mean, his demeanor is, and he is what he is. So anyway, we got a text here on the Titan MR text line from Jimmy. He says, is JC a fan of Kalen DeBoer, or is he like the rest of the Crimson Tide and ready to get rid of him.
This fan base, the only part of the Alabama fan base that gets all the damn media attention, that gets all the Feinbaum attention, that gets all the radio and TV attention is that radical fringe element. The real Alabama fans, the ones like me, the alumni, we are very happy with this coach. What he is doing, he is working to replace the guy that, well, we all know who he was replacing. It's not easy. You can't just continue. There has to be some patience. And let's be honest, he lost a lot of guys, but he reassembled a pretty impressive roster nonetheless. And his recruiting for 2025 is going to be spectacular. Anybody giving this guy grief right now because his guys aren't covering people, or they can't get off the field on third down, or Milrose actually thrown an interception for the first time in a year, anybody giving him grief is unreasonable. And I think Alabama fans like myself, the ones who are grounded, okay, that are passionate, but grounded and not radical fringe idiots that all fan bases have, are just fine with this guy. He's going to be there. Listen, he's got $100 million contract. He ain't going anywhere. Okay.
Right.
He's not going anywhere. So get over the Kalen DeBoer problems. There are none. And if they lose to Tennessee, that's not going to be nice or good. But by God, give this man some time to assemble his team. That's what you have to do.
Kyle says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, what do you guys think about Dan Lanning intentionally getting a 12th man on the field for the penalties, cheating, or just brilliance? Here's what I'll say about that. It's very smart. He found a loophole. What I don't understand in that situation, JC.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with what happened?
No, somebody said something about it, but
okay. So obviously Ohio State, all they have to do is go down and get in field goal range, kick a field goal to win the game.
Yeah.
Dan Lanning on one of the plays, I think it may have been the last play of the game. They had 12 men on the field on purpose. They ran the play. Of course, flag comes out. Too many men on the field for Oregon. 10-second runoff.
Yeah, 10-second runoff.
That's what's stupid, because the team that's getting penalized is the one that caused the penalty. Yeah. I mean the opposing team. Right. So you would think that if he had a penalty on Oregon for too many men, they would add 10 seconds.
Add 10 seconds.
Not take 10 seconds off.
I think the rules committee will have to look at that. That's a great point. Yeah, that hurts the team that didn't infringe the rules there. So I agree. Yeah. But it was smart. Listen, he's playing with the rule book and he knows what he's doing. This is a guy that can think in the game situations. I think his game.
Well, he talked about that they had practiced that in case they did get in that situation, and
that sounds like preparation.
Until they change the rules, other teams are going to do it as well. Why wouldn't you?
What did Billy say, do you think, to his staff after at halftime when they got the 12-man call and the 10-second runoff?
Say that one more time.
What do you think Billy said to the staff when they got too many men on the field to ruin a field goal?
I don't know what Billy said, but I know what I would have said.
Right. And that can't continue. I know it comes down to
that. I said this last night when I spoke to the people. It falls on Billy's shoulders, but it falls on his staff, because everybody has a responsibility. Yeah. That's their job. And the people that are in charge of that continue to fail. So, all right, let's move on to this. This text or Titan Mar. Actually, it's YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Jack wants to know, JC, who are your top 3 candidates to replace Billy today?
Oh boy, talk about getting put on the spot right now. I mean, I've got the rest of the year to think about this, because he's not going anywhere at the soonest until the end of the year. But if I had to say somebody today, I've always thought highly of, and I can't really say right now, but I love Jamie Chadwell. I think he's a very good coach. But if you want a splash guy, if you want a guy like a Brian Kelly that went to LSU or something like that, this guy could end up being a splash hire if Indiana continues to do what they're doing. And if they somehow beat Ohio State, if they somehow make the playoff as one of the 3 teams out of the Big 18, then that Kirk Cignetti then becomes a huge splash hire all of a sudden. So we have to wait for it to play out. But Kirk Cignetti has done amazing things, and nobody really knows about it because it was at JMU, who was undefeated last year, during the year. And my God, look at Indiana. This is a program that was nothing. It was below the basement. And here they are undefeated. So you have to look at those guys who are hot right now. But if you want to look for an established name like Lane,
he's too old though. That's the problem.
He might be. But Indiana's loving on him right now.
Well, Indiana can keep him.
Well, they probably will keep him, and I hope they sell out Bloomington because that never happens. But they've got a big game with the Nebraska Cornhuskers, and Indiana could be 7-0 by the time we're talking this time next week. But those are just two names. But the splash hires are going to be hard to get. I'm just telling you because these guys are established in what they're doing, where they're at. You're not going to get Steve Sarkisian. You're not going to get Ryan Day. I just don't. I don't think you're going to get.
No. Gene says on Facebook Live that I explained the Oregon situation wrong. I don't think I did, Gene. Somebody else can correct me if I'm wrong, but we have plenty of people that will look that up. But I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Okay. Real quick, JC, before we move on to another subject. Mark says, how can the media and the experts be so wrong about the QB at Tennessee at the beginning of the year? He was the next Arch Manning. Yeah. Because people fell in love with his arm strength against a couple of weaker opponents. And again, he may turn out to be okay, but if you pull up his stats in his 3 SEC games, it's terrible.
Well, if you want to feel better about yourself, throw the ball against Alabama, and that's coming this weekend. So maybe he's
going to have trouble, JC. Trust me.
So against that defense, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, JC, I can fix your defense right now. Play zone coverage. Okay. Don't play man. Why they play so much cover zero? I don't understand.
It also seems like to me when they blitz, they do a lot better. They have more success.
All right. So C. Irby on YouTube brought by Quava says, QB, what has changed in the last month that makes you think Lane won't get the UF job? You made that comment. I may have phrased it wrong. I know Lane and his camp want to come to Florida. I just don't know if we will even ask him to come to Florida.
Wow. Well, again,
now, like I said, I don't know. That's just the feeling that I get. I hope I'm 1,000% wrong.
I know you do because that's who you want, and that's who I think the majority of people that I've spoken to want. Not all of them, but the majority.
Yeah, there's not going to be one guy that makes everybody happy.
No, but one thing I'm just going to keep pounding and pounding and pounding. And even though this is probably wrong, Scott Strickland cannot be the guy that chooses this quarterback or this coach rather. He just can't be. He's 0-2, and he doesn't strike me as the guy that's going to go out and get that name that Florida needs. Florida needs a reboot. Seriously, they do. Coach Ackerman out in Texas, who you and I both know very well, would love to see. Oh gosh, it just slipped my mind. I'll come up with it here in a minute. But everybody's talking about who's going to be the next coach of Florida. It's all over the place when it comes to Florida. They don't talk about the Gators. They just talk about who's going to be the next coach when I'm out of town and I talk about it. Because not many people are talking about Florida. They just talk about who the next coach is.
Yeah. Reggie says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Bell Law, the boosters aren't going to pay the bow and pay Lane. Don't see it. Fish. I know they would.
Fish. He wants fish. Yeah, he wants fish. He wants fish out of Washington. That sounds like a lot of bouncing around in a short period of time for a guy.
Jet Fish has no chance of getting a job.
Okay, but that's who he wants. He wants a Gator guy.
Who does?
Coach Ackerman, former Jackson State assistant. But I just know that, and that's what he is. But I know this: Fish he's got Gator ties to him, and that's checks one of JC's boxes. Gator, former.
Here's I got to respond to Eat Chucky. He says Lane is now 4-25 against top 25 teams. I don't know if that's right or not.
I don't either.
Why the hell would you have pursue him? Again, find me a coach that has a great record against top 10 or top 25 teams. There's not many of them, JC. It's the established ones that are winning national championships. And I don't care about his record. I care about what I see and what I know that can be done. That's the difference.
Well,
that is the difference.
He manages off the field. He manages that team very well. They get a lot of good players coming to Mississippi.
Yes, people want to play for him. That's the key.
Yeah.
I keep telling people he is the modern day Steve Spurrier because of how he takes his jabs on Twitter. I don't care. I think it's funny as hell. Coach took his jabs at the podium. Coach always had a good quarterback. Lane always has a good quarterback. He always has a good offense. And here's the other thing. people flocked to play for Steve Spurrier. People flocked to play for Lane Kiffin.
Well,
Take it for what it's worth.
Well, I think that's what you've always angled this whole discussion over, is that you need a guy here to attract the talent that's going to be required to compete with Georgia, right? And that's it. I mean, you got to get somebody to bring in the goods.
All right, this text says James Franklin is the splash hire that people don't think is sexy, but is needed at Florida. CEO type coach who has proven to make necessary changes when needed on staff. Has 2 Florida recruiters on staff, and Troutwine and Jawan Sider would make us a consistent playoff contender. Would have more advantages at Florida than Penn State. What do you think about that, JC?
Well, maybe he would, maybe he wouldn't. I know it wouldn't be as hard to fly somewhere as it is. Give them credit. Drove 2 hours to Harrisburg, flew to LA, came back, drove 2 hours from Harrisburg. The State College doesn't have a runway long enough to accommodate a cross-country trip. But James Franklin's only got one problem. Only got one. Actually, it's 2. And it's called Ohio State and Michigan. And he can't beat them, either one of them. Now, maybe this year he gets over that Michigan hump. I think that will happen. But still, I don't see him beating Ohio State QB.
He should. If he can't beat Michigan this year.
Yeah. No, he's going to beat them this year, but he can't keep up with the Buckeyes. There's just not enough talent, I think, to run with Ohio State's athletes. And Oregon kind of showed us that they also have a great number of athletes. And that's the kind of team you have to have, an athletic team that can run and a big physical team that can handle the physical nature of playing against Ohio State. So, you need Will Howard to mess up. But other than that, it's great.
Champion your recovery with Core Power, delicious high-quality protein to build muscles and electrolytes to help hydrate. Core Power, replenish, repair, rebuild. That sounds like a football program, right? Replenish, repair, and rebuild.
Yeah, no question.
All right.
So Kentucky's coming in, QB, and this is a school that's had Florida's number the last 3 years, but they're kind of just bouncing around between mediocrity and something. And the thing is that they bring a physical nature to the game, but they don't have a lot of guys that can, run down the field, score points for you.
No.
Somehow they beat Mississippi. And
defense and Ole Miss, Lane, if you watch the game, they had opportunities to close the game out. Look, Kentucky's going to give us fits on the defensive side of the ball. Right. We always do. We have fits. They're highly ranked defensively in America. Yes. DJ's going to see a lot of looks that could confuse him. Go back 2 years ago, how Anthony, I think, threw 2 pick sixes or something in the game.
Right.
So it's a game that I think Florida's better than Kentucky, but I don't know if we can win it. You got to eliminate mistakes, and it could be one of those boring type games that people don't like.
The under 2017. But yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at, because that's what happened with Mississippi. Same thing. They just stymied the Rebels, but the Rebels kind of gave it away on defense. I don't know, QB. It's going to be a tough game. If people are thinking this is going to be the easier game of what's left, it could be, but who knows? Lagway is, and by the way, I just got to send off Graham Mertz. I did get a chance to Monday, but sure was a pleasant surprise having that young guy on campus with what he was able to do with what he had around him. And you have to, always remember him as being a guy that gave everything he had physically and emotionally to this program. I hope Gator fans will always hold Graham Mertz, and I think they will, in very high regard for a guy that just sold out every time he played, man. He put his body out there, and they would have beaten Missouri if they just had any brains in their head. But he was good enough to win some games like that. And people need to remember him as a winner, not a guy that played on some really lousy teams.
Yeah. Okay. So 31 Ember, these kind of comments crack me up. Tell me your thoughts on this comment, JC.
Okay.
Lane losing to a bad UK team. He sounds like a perfect fit here.
Well,
that's the thing. I think people need to get out of just whoever coaches a game and loses it up. He can't coach. He's done.
Well, they need a reason to feel optimistic, QB. That's the problem.
Well, I mean, again, you're not going to hire a coach that goes 12-0.
No, you're not.
Right?
No,
okay.
You're not. And
right.
I don't see many 12-0s happening The only team that can do it in this league is Texas, and they may have a loss coming this weekend specifically, but they may lose to Ole Miss, dude. This is a tough league.
Yeah. Andy North on Facebook Live, and I don't know if it's Andy North, the old golfer. Probably not.
Probably not.
He doesn't like the Gators. He prefers Wisconsin.
He does.
He says the PFF guys say that Ole Miss high school recruiting has dropped to top 30 class. Has dropped to top 30 classes since he has been there because he uses the portal so much. He does use the portal. I have no problem with the portal. Look, I don't care. I'm going to tell people this again. I said this last night when I spoke. Has Ole Miss been a good program since Lane's taken over? Have they ascended? Absolutely, they have.
100%.
There's still no comparison in the brand and the football program of the University of Florida and the University of Mississippi.
Right.
There's none.
Right.
And I'm an Ole Miss Rebel guy.
They haven't won anything.
I love them.
Right.
But there's no comparison. So the point of it is this school is going to recruit the Gators are going to recruit higher quality athletes on a consistent basis more than Ole Miss will.
Yeah. How much do you think these kids really care about what happened 14, 18 years ago, QB?
They don't care.
Right. So if somebody at Mississippi really turns them on and makes them feel good and happy and warm and fuzzy,
right. But what my point is Ole Miss is playing a brand of football that kids like. As I just stated, they like playing for that coach.
Well, there you go.
That school also opens up their wallets.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. They have that NIL rolling up there.
Yes, they do. Okay. Real quick, another text, and then I want to get to something that I wanted to mention today. Lane Kiffin is 4-25. James Franklin's 12-23 against top 25. Okay. I could care less if they're 0-62.
He's still got to beat two teams up there in Penn State. Somebody asked me about Arkansas, and they were saying, hey, what about Florida looking at Bobby Petrino? He'd be cheap. He would be really cheap. He would not cost a lot of money. He's got head coaching experience, and Arkansas won with him. He's 63 years old, however.
He's probably too old, but I would take him in a heartbeat.
I know you would, because you love
can dial him up. I don't care. I don't care how many motorcycle rides he has. I don't care about any of that.
I think he's great. I think he's unbelievable.
I love him.
Listen, he's the only reason Sam Pittman's still walking around in Fayetteville. I'm telling you, he is. He turned to this kid, this 6'8" kid or whatever, into a guy that's helping them win football games. And then the backup came in against Tennessee and did fine. Listen, he's got offense, in his blood, but he's 63 years old, and I just don't think it's in the cards. But, man, would you not get really excited knowing that dude is going to come draw plays up down here?
Oh, I would love it. F45 training merges 3 leading-edge fitness training styles into 145 functional training class. Visit F45training.com to learn more.
Maybe they should call Jimbo, John James Fisher. He's an offensive guru. He's a
Rob
guru.
Says
he's got nothing to do.
He says, Shane, did you hear about a Jacksonville radio host say UF has a well in waiting for next head coach? I don't know what that means.
Well,
what does that mean, Jason?
No idea. But John James is getting paid $7.5 million for the next 6, 7, or 5 years. Florida wouldn't have to pay him as much as they pay Billy, I bet.
Yeah. All right. So here's what I wanted to talk about today briefly and get your thoughts or other people's thoughts. I get so many people, and I appreciate them sending me these clips that these people on Twitter and different podcasts break down plays. We're talking Gators here. It happens at every school, right? Okay. But they send me the Gator stuff. Good. Well, see, we should have done what this guy says. Right. Folks, here's all I'm going to say. It is so easy.
Second guessing.
Well, not even just second guess, JC. Think about this, though. I throw a play up on. It doesn't matter if it's the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay.
I sit in my chair here at my desk, and I have this thing they call a cowboy clicker. It does the rewinding. And I rewind it 15, 20 times. Well, you know what? I think we should have, they're in this coverage. They're playing this technique. We should attack this guy, and we should do this.
Monday morning.
I rewind it again. I let it play. Well, we could have run this route, or we could have run duo. We could have double teamed this guy, kicked him out. What I'm trying to say is it is so easy to rewind it for 25 minutes and draw little lines and say, We should have done this. You should have done that.
These
Folks,
podcasters are all experts.
This is the moral to the story. You have about 25 seconds, and this is not just Bill. I'm telling, this is every play call. You could do this for every team in America, right?
Yeah.
Because this is what coaches do when they're getting ready for an opponent. You watch a play, watch an opponent's defense, and you're rewinding it probably 20 times. Okay, we see this look against this formation. Where do we want to attack? Okay, well, we're thinking that's what we're going to get possibly in the game, but the defense doesn't always line up how you think they're going to line up, right?
Correct. They make adjustments. Yeah. They make adjustments.
So somebody sent me one where Tennessee blitzed us, and he's like, well, if the receiver would have run this route, it was a wide open touchdown. Well, no shit. After I've watched it 25 times, you can easily say that. I'm trying to just let people know I have nothing against these people breaking down and doing these, because I don't know if people pay for these or what, but look, folks, it's not reality. It's not reality at all. And I don't know if I said that correctly, explained it.
No, you did. I mean, you basically said, Monday and Tuesday morning quarterbacks, everybody can do it. And it's not reality because on Saturday, we're in the middle of live action. And you just got to hope the kids are prepared enough to make these decisions that you want them to make on Tuesday. It doesn't always work that way. Now, sometimes they do the right thing, but
right. No, there were some great plays that they sent me as well that the guy designed and said this, but he also said, well, he could have done. Look, man, I like I said, I have nothing against those people. I don't know if they've ever played a down of football or ever coached a down of football in their lives, but it is so easy to have a remote controller, a cowboy, rewinding it 25 times after looking at that play and say, you should have done this. Or if the left tackle doesn't get blown up, left tackles get blown up all the time in plays. Well, anyway, I just think it's funny.
It is. But it keeps people busy talking about football.
Right. But then they send it to me and I see the comments and, of course the fans are like, you're exactly right. They should have done this. They should have done that. Yeah. And this happens at every school. It's not just the Gators. I've had people send me other schools too. Why can't we do this? Or why shouldn't we do that? Well, we do try. But that school there has bad plays as well. So anyway, Davis says, the problem is not the offense or concepts according to Shane. We need someone to manage the team and game. Just my thought. Look, I've never once on this program ever said that I love Billy Napier's offense. Have I ever said that?
No, but you have said that it's not the problem.
Right. Now, it wasn't the problem last year, right? We've had some issues this year, but it's just, to be a good football team, you have to play all three phases pretty well to win games.
Yeah.
But we have great concepts at times. Are there times when we have a play call that does not work? Absolutely, we do. But I don't lose any sleep over it because when I played in one of the greatest offenses there were, we had plays called that didn't work.
You also said they weren't that complicated. It wasn't as hard to think about as people want to make it to be.
No, our offense was very simple, but we still would call a play, Jason, it would not work.
Sure, of course. Absolutely. No, 100 I don't know how many times I saw Danny Werfel getting run over by Florida State. I mean, I get it. He finally figured out that you got to go to the shotgun once in a while, coach. Remember when Danny was getting bludgeoned because he wouldn't stick him back there?
Yeah, I never got to play in the shotgun either. I'm pissed about that.
Yeah, think about it. It took Coach Spurrier. Think about it, folks. Don't forget. Sometimes even the great ones have to learn on the job too. And I think that's when Coach Spurrier decided, we need to protect Danny a little bit more and stick him in the shotgun.
Yeah. Text here on the Titan Mark text line says, Shane, what former player positions do you think make the best head coaches? It doesn't seem like a lot of great coaches were not great players. That is very true. There's only a handful of really good players that turned into great coaches. Coach Spurrier is one of them. I think Jeff Brom's one of them. I think Jim Harbaugh is one of them. Lincoln Riley was like a walk-on. I think he's got a good mind. Lane was a backup quarterback at Fresno. He's been around football his whole life. I think he's a good coach, but he wasn't a great player. Who am I missing, JC?
Yeah, while you were talking there, I was trying to think.
Kerwin Kerwin, I think, is a great football coach.
There
He was
you
a
go.
great player.
He was a great player. He absolutely was a great player. I could come
usually the quarterbacks, and I guess he's asking position players. I would lean with the quarterback because you have to know so much.
Yeah. Toughest position to play.
Yeah.
Toughest position.
So Wolf Gator says, I do think we have some talent on this team, and coaches are just not getting everything out of that said talent.
Yeah. Man,
sometimes you just can't get it out. Sometimes you can.
Yeah, you need to win some games though to get these kids to believe again and be confident.
Yeah.
And, everybody talks about how Florida State's an automatic W. It's damn sure not. And by the time they get to Florida State, and I'm way too far ahead of myself here, but they're going to have 4 games that are just going to be very difficult. You just don't know the frame of mind the team's going to be in by the time it gets to Florida State. And I'll have everybody remember that Florida State beat a team that's better than anybody Florida's beaten this year as well. So it's not a guaranteed dub. But listen, I mean, just worry about Saturday. This is a team that can be beaten. This is a team that Vanderbilt never had, that never trailed on the road the other night. So this is a team that can be beaten, and Florida needs this game at home. Billy has got to win these home games, and this is one he's got to win.
Yeah. Kirby was a defensive back at Georgia, but he was not a great player.
No, absolutely not. No.
David says he likes James Franklin, but he would hire Sonny Cumbie at Louisiana Tech.
Yeah, well, Sonny was a pretty good quarterback at Texas Tech. Look, I heard another Texas Tech quarterback's name. I think it was Graham Hall that mentioned this. Cliff Kingsbury is a great offensive mind, but I don't think he's got a winning record as a head coach.
There's no way he has a winning record.
No,
zero.
He does not. So, I mean, again, it's like you said.
I don't think he had a winning record when the Arizona Cardinals.
No, absolutely did not. I don't know why he drafted Kyler Murray, to be honest with you. But he had great offensive skills as a quarterback. He was in an offense that really played to his strengths. But my God, he can't figure it out. And listen, it works well with Jaden Daniels. It does, just like it did with Joe Brady, with Joe Burrow. Okay, sometimes you get these matchups with the OC and the quarterback that are magic, and hopefully one day Florida can find that here. And maybe Lagway will be that guy, and maybe he won't. You just don't know.
You just said Joe Burrow in this. I mean, look,
Joe Brady.
Yeah, but Joe Burrow's freaking unbelievable, dude.
That's a great quarterback. No, I totally get it, but I was just making the point that sometimes that OC and that quarterback relationship that they have really creates wonderful things. And I think Lane had it with Blake Sims, Alabama, and people like this. You can really get somewhere if you've got.
Well, he had a good relationship with Matt Corral. I think he has a great relationship and I think Jackson Dart's a hell of a college quarterback.
I agree with that. Look at what's happened to poor Jackson Arnold. Brett Venables doesn't know he's a defensive guy, and Jackson Arnold's not even seeing the field. And Oklahoma is maybe one of the worst teams in the league on offense. Maybe they are the worst team in the league on offense. So it's really unfortunate, but that's what you got to try to key up is that coach and that quarterback and let them do their thing.
Yeah, Wolf Gator's on a prowl. He says all four other coaches that we fired in the past never had it this bad of a record at this point.
Well, that's true. We talked about that.
No, I mean that's a fact. Yeah. Napier was given a ton of resources that all the other fire coaches did not. That's true. It's true. We're not arguing that. Yeah. All right, JC, this day in sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life. Campus USA Credit Union. Listen to this.
Okay.
2016. 85-year-old Ed Whitlock.
Okay.
Do you know him?
I
don't either.
Okay.
He became the oldest person to complete a marathon under 4 hours in Toronto.
God bless.
Think about that at 85 years. How many 85-year-old? I played golf with a couple of 82-year-old guys.
Yes, you do.
They golf their ball from the blue tees, not the orange tees, but the blue tees.
Pretty impressive.
But I don't think any of them could complete a marathon under 4 hours.
No. I mean, God bless him. He's in great shape. He's fortunate. He's got longevity. He's got health. I mean, sometimes you need a good break. You need to have that in your gene pool there. But not everybody has that.
Yeah, we got multiple people texting at the same time. This is interesting, and they both said we think Graham Mertz will be a great coach one day. Could be.
Well,
he's got to get in the right situation. That's the whole thing about coaching.
I just will always remember Graham Mertz for just putting playing his heart. I mean, he played his heart out, and he put his body out there. He wanted that first down, separated his shoulder. He does everything he can do to try to get that team and his teammates to win games. I really think Gator fans will remember him being the one bright spot in this very dismal time. And it is.
Yeah, Andrew on Facebook Live wants to know our thoughts on the faking the injuries.
Lane's pretty good at that, slowing down teams. Listen, gamesmanship happens all the time. Astros stole signs. Connor Stallion stole signs from Michigan. We all know what happened. It's called gamesmanship. I don't know. It's right on the fringe of the rules. It's right on that fringe, but it's not quite. I don't think it's over the line. So I'm not as big a. I don't have as big a problem with it. You just adjust to it and try to make sure it, doesn't affect you on the other side of the ball. But it's just part of what happens out there, QB. I mean, you got coaches stealing signs from other coaches all the time. I saw it happen in a high school press box.
I stole signals, whether I was on the sideline in the NFL. I stole signals in high school. I stole signals. Well, I played in Florida, but we stole signals. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. That's part of the game.
But there are rules, right?
Right.
But
I mean, we stole signals during the course of a game. There's no reason you can't do that.
Right.
Now times have changed because they put all these damn bed sheets up and stuff, so it's hard to see. But
I love it when they're doing this. Because
I'm talking about the sheets.
I know the big boards out there
for the people signaling in.
Yeah.
All right. Greg wants to know: is Tennessee and USC a comparable program to Florida?
Is Tennessee and USC a comparable program? I don't think. Well, look, if we're looking at national championships, conference championships, and things like that, Tennessee, I don't think you can say is.
Well, Tennessee's won 6 national titles.
But in modern history, they've won.
I know. Look, they're kind of all the same. I mean, Tennessee's had a good little run the last couple of years with Josh Heupel, but it could go south this year.
Well,
it could
for 25 years they had no run, and Southern Cal is more of a traditional historic program, much more so than Florida because of all the Heisman Trophy winners, and we all know why, right? But right now, I think it's just. Florida's just got to find the right leadership, man. That's all I'm really saying, and that's all I mean. It not just on the field, at the top too. And I don't know.
Yeah, I had someone ask me last night about if they do make a coaching move, and it was whether it was Lane or whoever, their concern was that Lane's bounced around so much, And I'm like, all coaches bounce around, quite honestly. Unless you find the right place. So there's what I was trying to say is there's no guarantee that a coach is going to say, I promise you I'll be here 10 years.
Well, it's kind of like where did he want to be? He took the Tennessee job because it was a head job, but he left in 1 year because he went to a dream job, right? He didn't ask to leave that dream job. They dumped him off the side of the road. Literally, They did. So he didn't ask to leave that one. Remember, he didn't want to go. They just told him, you can't come back, dude. Give us the keys. So that's just how that works sometimes. And I think Sark is going to finish his career at Texas if all things continue to go the way they're going.
I could see Sark if he wins a national title. I could see him going to the National Football League.
Really?
Well, he coached for the Falcons and a couple other people. He just looks like an NFL coach to me.
Just so good at what he does.
He's very good.
And
he's very good.
He just had a problem, but he got over it. God bless him. God bless him. And he went to the Nick Saban pool of resuscitation, and he dipped his head in that pool, and he came out renewed. Okay, he was touched like Ernest Angley used to touch you, and all of a sudden, I'm saved. He was saved by Nick Saban, as was Lane, as was a lot of these guys.
Kanye Ron wants to know if I play the orange tees. Yes, I play the orange tees. I play it. We always play it back wherever I play.
Oh, big shot. Okay.
Cliff says, I bet Kerwin would stay. Well, yes. I mean, that's.
My God, Kerwin. Dude, that's 20.
Text here on the Titan MR text line. Saban, Muschamp, and Smart were all former DBs. Yes. The question again, folks, was, do great players make great coaches? None of those were great players.
None of them. Not
but
one.
They're damn good coaches.
So, I mean, yeah. I could probably come up with some coach that was a really great player, but I just
named
some.
I
know you did. You named some. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Deion's not a great coach yet.
He's not a great coach. He was a damn good player, though.
He was one of the best. So
yeah. All right, JC, we're gonna get you out of here real quick, though. Listen to this, JC.
Okay.
Legally sports bet in Florida on hundreds of props, parlays, game lines, and more. The only legal place to bet online in the state of Florida, hardrockbet.com.
That's right. Yes. And I was out of the state and I looked up my account and it goes outside service area and shut me down. They are very strict about that. But in Florida, which is a massive state from Pensacola to Key West, you are good to go. And
so speaking of that, our Peachland Dental picks for Thursday night football.
Okay.
Who's playing? I mean, hey, you probably have already lost your notebook with our records.
No, here, look, there it is.
Oh.
I shock you every day, don't I? Well, these are stunning games here. Western Kentucky and Sam Houston, Florida International and El Paso. Western Kentucky plus 2.5 to Sam Houston, and FIU is laying 7 to El Paso, and El Paso has not.
I thought we were doing the Thursday night NFL game.
Oh, okay, sure. Let's move on.
Unless you want to do those games.
No, I really don't want to do those games. So I'm sorry about bringing it up. But here's one. The Saints have lost 4 straight games. Derek Carr's hurt. Denver was beaten at home the other day, stopping their win streak. So this game is in New Orleans, and Denver's laying 2.5 with both. I think I'm going to go with Saints. The Saints didn't quit under Spencer Rattler, and I think they'll play.
He had some good moments.
Yeah, he did. I think they're going to bounce back and pull this one off against Denver. But I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Denver shut them down completely. Denver's pretty good on defense. They really are.
They're very good on defense, but I don't. They just Bo Nix, man. I'm telling you.
You're not.
I'll look at the stats during their games. He'll be like 7 of 19 for 62 yards.
Well, you realize he's got over 1,000 yards already passing.
How many games do they play, JC?
6.
Okay, that's less than 200 a game.
It's not much. Yeah.
Yes, it sucks.
That's right. Well, he's.
I like the Saints at home.
Okay, we're going to take the Saints. We're going to go with the Saints, getting the 2.5. And then we go to Sunday, and we'll talk about that on Friday. This game weekend, by the way, QB on the 19th, is going to have just such a great roster of football games, capped off by our late game at 7:45, one of the later games of the day. So you're going to
we're going to be battling the Georgia-Texas audience.
Well, that's true, but that game starts an hour and 45 minutes before. I think it starts.
No, it starts at 7 o'clock.
Okay, so it starts 45 minutes.
Or maybe 7:30. I can't remember.
Actually, you're right. It is going to be battling that audience. LSU and Arkansas at 7. Alabama, Tennessee at 3:30. Really good game.
Oh,
really good games. Auburn, Missouri at noon. And then Kentucky and Florida round out the SEC schedule. But also we've got Indiana, Nebraska. We've got Virginia, Clemson could be a competitive game. Miami's playing at Louisville. Huge game for Miami. Louisville, a home underdog there. Michigan is playing at Illinois. That's a big game for those folks in the Midwest. Notre Dame has to travel to Georgia Tech. That's not going to be an easy road trip for them because Georgia Tech's waiting on them. I just think this weekend is just loaded. And there's a little team in Ames, Iowa that's still undefeated at 6-0, and they look to go 7-0 as they'll beat UCF.
Might be finally Matt Campbell may actually produce and win some games.
So
remember he was the hot coach a few years ago.
He's always a hot commodity, it seems like. Yeah. But man, listen, Rocco Beck's done great. Listen, I've got this new thing coming out called the JC Power Rankings on Friday.
Oh dear Lord.
I know. You'll get excited about that on Friday.
Are you posting this on Twitter?
I might as well because I'm back. So hell yeah.
What is your Twitter handle?
J Cornell 51349. It's so bad.
How does anybody gonna know what that is?
Nobody knows. It's okay. I got 100 followers already.
Yeah, but I want to follow. I want to follow these picks. This power ranking.
Power rankings. All right.
Put your picture next to it.
All right. I will.
And do your power rankings. I just wanted to. I failed to mention this. I'm going to bring it up now. I'm trying to get either tomorrow or Friday these 3 gentlemen on. Tell me if you know these names, JC.
Yeah. All right.
Gerald Dickens, Ray McDonald.
Yes.
And Lorenzo Hampton.
Absolutely. Lorenzo Hampton,
okay.
Number 7.
Well, the 84 team is being honored Saturday night. 40 years since they won in 84.
Love that.
First time this team has ever been honored by the University of
you
Florida.
you think,
I'm trying to get them on to talk about it.
You think Neil's going to go?
No,
you don't. Okay.
I said that I don't know the answer to that.
Oh,
I will be surprised. I'll be surprised if he goes.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll give you the answer
Here's
on Friday.
Here's what I think Neil's going to do. Here's what I think Neil will do. Neil will probably go hang out at their little golf tournament they have and their little barbecue. I don't know if he'll go to the game.
Okay, well, I'm going to ask him on the driving range today when I see him, and because I'm actually going to get to play for the first time in a month, and I'm going to see him today, and I'll ask him if he's going to show up Saturday night.
Well, I hope he does, but what do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think he's completely divorced, but I will say though, I do believe he'll get together with the players because
there's no doubt about that.
I hope John L. Williams shows up. I mean, that's a great Palatka.
John L. Williams is going to be the Mr. Two Bits.
Oh, great. John L. was one of my favorite Gators to play from Palatka, Florida.
I think it's John L. One of the players is going to be Mr. Two Bits. I think it's John L.
Jarvis Williams and John L. Williams. Jarvis Williams?
Jarvis passed away.
But those were two great Gators from Palatka.
Palatka Panthers.
Every time I drive through Palatka, I'll never forget the way John L. Williams ran on Buchholz and beat up the living hell out of us in the playoffs one year in the 80s.
All right. Good stuff, JC.
All right.
We'll talk to you on Friday. As JC joins us on the Tag No More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort
Ricky
Temp. Take a
Mulberry.
quick time out, come back, and we'll wrap this show up. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We'll be right back. We want to take this moment to thank our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills.
Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, Titan MRI, Meldon Law, Peachland Dental, QC Kinetics, Campus USA Credit Union, Dave & Buster's. Gridiron sponsors, Comfort Temp, UF Bookstores, Quality Plumbing, Silverback Concrete, Ruse Ogra State Farm, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, F45, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Miapa Latin Cafe, Gator Bait Media, Aikido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, 84 Lumber, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, MG&A Wealth, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Nest and Wild, Florida Victorious, Electronics World.
If you're interested in promoting your business on the show, call Freddie at 352-284-3733. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, and of course our chicken and waffles. Plus, you can enjoy bottomless, mimosas, and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Ruse Ogra State Farm offers a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right. With the right insurance options for you and your family, visit ograinsurance.com. Give them a call, 352-240-1779. We got a lot of conversation going on, a lot of text about the 84 team. Someone asked on Facebook Live, brought to you by Metal Law, well, do I think Ricky Nattil will show up? I know Ricky will show up for the functions with the team. I think Ricky will go to the game. I think they're going to be introduced at the end of the first quarter. You know how they had the teams walk out to like the 20-yard line or whatever. I do think Ricky will. I'm guessing Ricky will. I know Ricky pretty well. Him and Neil are the ones that I know the best out of that whole crew. And Pioneer Ryan wants to know, did John L. play at Pittsburgh? I'm not sure where he played. I can't remember where he played in the league. James Jones was he on that team? He played for the Lions. Can't remember. Wolf Gator says, sorry that Neil Anderson is divorced from his alma mater. I hate to see that, but UA needs to rectify. They're like I said, these 84 dudes, I don't know if any of them have been back since 84, quite honestly, because of all that. Andy says, Shane, during your playing days, wasn't there a surefire 2-point conversion play you could pull out? Well, nothing's surefire. You have 2 or 3 2-point plays on your list that you think are the best, but nothing is surefire. I mean, you see it in the NFL all the time on their sheets. They're holding up like this. They got a little section for 2-point plays, and they run 2-point plays all the time. They're not successful. Toby says John L. Williams was drafted by the Seattle Seahawks. That's right. That's right. Yeah, we'll talk more about the Gators and the Wildcats. Kentucky's stout defensively, man. They shut down Georgia's offense. I think that was a 1-point game. They shut down Ole Miss's offense. I guess Vanderbilt. I don't know if Vanderbilt was explosive against them, but Vanderbilt won the football game. But we always have problems with Mark Stoops' defensive approach. So we'll see how DJ, they don't blitz a whole lot. Now, Tennessee blitzed DJ at the end and kind of gave him some issues, but they usually play soft zone, keep everything in front, rally up and make tackles, and let their front four get after the quarterback and handle the run game. They usually have great outside linebackers that are extremely athletic. I think they still have majority of their defensive players they had when they came here 2 years ago and gave Anthony fits. So it'll be interesting to see. DJ's going to get a lot of work, obviously. People have asked who his backup is. I think it's Aiden Warner, the transfer from Yale. I think he's from Winter Park. But can't get him hurt. But you can't play scared and tell him not to run and all that stuff. If he needs to run, and DJ's a smart runner. You saw him the other night. He slides and gets down. No reason to take hits. Michael says, what's up with Neil Anderson? Neil lives in town, been here ever since he retired. Plays a lot of golf, pickleball, tennis, things of that nature. So, and yes, John L. will be Mr. Two Bits, according to the folks on here. I hope you enjoyed today's program. Again, tomorrow we'll have Brent Beard, and like I said, I'm trying to get those 84 guys either on tomorrow or Friday or maybe both days, just waiting for them to let me know. Florida Cracker is the brand for original Floridians, great food and Southern hospitality in the center of the universe, Brooksville, Florida. FloridaCracker.com. We'll be here tomorrow, folks. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.